Today we will be discussing geometry, and that is the study of shapes. And we're going to be starting with some very basic shapes: points, lines, line segments, and rays. A key to geometry is knowing the vocabulary and being very precise about your vocabulary. So let's get started on the first vocabulary word, point. Everybody say it. Point. Here's a picture of a point. And notice that point is labeled with the letter A. A point is just an exact position. And if you were naming a point, mathematicians like to give shapes names. So if you were to name this point, you just write the letter A. So on your notes where it says name, go ahead and just write the letter A. There's no symbol that goes with it. It's just a simple A. The next vocabulary word is a line segment. Everybody say that. Line segment. One more time. Line segment. And let's move over to the description first. On the count of three, we're going to read it together. 1, 2, 3. A straight path between 2 points. So here, notice you have the line segment that's between the 2 points A and B. So we can name this line segment 2 ways. You're either going to call it A, B, with a little line segment above it. So draw it just like I did on the board. A, B, with a little line segment drawn above it. Or BA, with a little line segment above it. So notice in geometry, notation, meaning the way you write things, is so important. If I don't put this symbol at the top, people are not going to know that I'm talking about a line segment. So on the line segment, that's really important. And then you're also going to write it as BA. And look, I could trace that and kind of realize, okay, AB, I was naming that line segment. BA, oh, check that out. It's the exact same thing. So it has 2 possible names. Let's look at our next term. A line. We'll go to the description, a straight path, and it goes on forever in both directions. So what do you notice is different about this picture of the line? What's different now versus the one you saw before the line segment, Quinn? Exactly, and those arrows mean that it goes on forever in both directions, okay? So when we're naming a line, we're still going to just pick 2 points on it. So you always name a line with just 2 points. In this case, it only drew 2 points. So we'll call this line AB, and then draw your line at the top with the arrow. So down here, the names for a line, oh, don't forget to write BA on that one too. The names for a line are A, B with a line on the top, or BA, also with a line on the top. If you forget this notation, this symbol of the line with the arrows, it's incorrect. Mathematicians are very picky about their notation, and they want you to have this way. I read this as line BA, and I know it's true. Just to show you, you don't have to write this down. I just want you to watch it. If there were another point C on here, then I could also name this line AC or CB. The key when you're naming lines is you just have to pick 2 points anywhere on it and name it that way. You don't have to write down the red, just as long as you have written down the blue. I just wanted to show you that. Anytime you're naming a line, you're just picking 2 points. Okay, and the last type of this vocabulary is called a ray. It is, again, a straight path, but a ray goes on forever in one direction. So notice now in this picture, what's different from the line, Regan? Right, it only has the one arrow. So now, I always joke that ray Ray is very sensitive. Ray does not like nicknames. So Ray is called A-B with a little mini Ray drawn on top of it. So for your name for Ray, you're going to write A-B with the mini arrow drawn on top of it. And you might be saying, Mrs. George, but why can't we call Ray B-A? Oh my goodness, don't you dare. If you try to call Ray B-A like that, Ray is going to start crying. I don't like nicknames. I'm not B-A. My name is A-B. How dare you call me that? He is just so sensitive. So please always name him correctly. You want to go from this end point toward the arrow that it goes and name him in that order. He's just really sensitive about that. Because if we're doing this, right, A to B, it goes on forever in the direction of B. Correct? Yeah. But if we named him accidentally B-A, like, why are you calling me that? I don't go on forever in the direction of A. Oh, that hurts my feelings. So please, remember Ray is a little sensitive. Okay, so let's practice these. Now that you have your vocab down, let's practice. Flip onto this slide that says, say whether each is a line segment, a line, or a ray, and its names. Let's go through, this is a two-parter direction, right? First, say what it is, and then two, say its names. Let's start with number one. Let's just say whether it's a line segment, a line, or a ray, and I'm actually going to let you abbreviate. So in your directions, write LS, L, and R, and we'll abbreviate on our answers. So in this first one, raise your hand if you can tell us what this is a picture of, Emily. Good, a line. So you can write an L. We'll write it actually above, just above the answer, so that you save room for all its names. Okay, let's do this one. What's this, this next one, Grace? Good. How did you know it's a ray, not a line? It's still straight, but it only goes on forever in one direction, right? So that's why we know it's a ray. Okay, let's look at this next one. Regan, what's this showing? It's not a line because it doesn't have the arrows. It's not going on forever. You got it. That's just a line segment. Go ahead and write LS for that one. How about the next one? Who haven't I heard from? Luciana. It's a line would have to have the arrows that show it goes on forever and ever. Does this one go on forever and ever? No, it stops. So it's just a line segment. Okay, how about this next one, Sia? Good. How did you know it was a line? Exactly. The arrows tell us it goes on forever in both directions. And this last one, Elizabeth? A line would have to go on in both directions forever and ever. Good. It's a ray because it only goes on in one. Okay, now let's go ahead and do our naming. Again, I think this is a really fun part because you get to be really precise about what you name it. So anytime we do a name, we're just going to pick 2 points, okay, for the lines and the line segments and the rays. So I'm going to start us off with this one. I might pick points A and B. So I would say this could be line AB or line BA. Write these down. I think this one has the most names out of any of them. So this will be a lot of writing and then it'll get shorter. Or I could pick the points BC and say this is line BC. Any Boston College fans in the audience here? Oh, I see some silent cheers. Nice. Or line CB. Could name it either way. Or I could pick the points A and C and I could call this line AC or line CA. Notice every time, oh, you gotta get copying. Notice every time, nope, you need to write all 6. And every time I'm making sure to draw my arrows. That looks like a true mathematician's paper back here. With those beautiful arrows, you've picked 2 points, you're clearly naming. We're gonna come back. Let's go on and talk about the ray. So now if this is ray, this is a ray. So remember, ray is very sensitive. Who thinks they could take a chance naming Ray? Don't hurt his feelings. What's the name of this ray? Emily? Yes, she started with the endpoint and then goes on forever in the direction of S. Thank you, Emily. You made me feel so great. You didn't call me by a mean nickname. Ray E.S. You got it. And let's do this last one, a line segment. I'll give you a hint. This has 2 possible names. Who can get both for us? Lauren? Good. Good. Now, if I wrote it like this, would I be correct? And what's missing, Lauren? I need to draw a little line segment at the top. So I want you to go ahead on your own, try the next 3, and then play the video back when you're ready for the answers. So go ahead and check your answers to these 3. Make sure you had all the correct notation, including, lines with arrows and everything. And then on the ray, I know that one could be a little bit tricky. Remember, even though now that this is pointing downwards, you still need to start with this endpoint Q, and it goes on forever in the direction of R. That's why we named it that way. We're going to look at 3 new words. We're going to look at 3 new words to describe the relationship between these. The first first phrase is intersecting lines. Everybody say it. Intersecting lines. And that just means lines that cross each other at exactly 1 point. So right here, you can see that line QP intersects line RS. Okay, so now intersecting, another way lines can intersect is if they're perpendicular, but we'll get to that for a second. If lines do not intersect, they're called parallel lines. Everybody say it, parallel lines. And they're lines in the same plane that never intersect and are always the same distance apart. Mathematicians have a special way to note that. So I'm going to use some of your initials. Ava Bouchonville, let's have this one be AB. And let's have Regan Davidson, this one be RD. Okay, and if we wanted to say that line RD, remember I write line RD like that, is parallel to line AB, the way we show that is we write 2 little lines in between like that. So that you have line RD is parallel to line AB. It's like a sentence, like you read it. And then the last word for today is perpendicular. Everybody say that. Perpendicular. And that means lines that intersect to form 4 right angles or square corners. I want you to go ahead and highlight in your notes this little square corner right here. That means that the lines intersect at a 90-degree angle. And of course, mathematicians have a way to write that too. So if we wanted to say line PO is perpendicular, it's almost like an upside down T, is perpendicular to line NM, it would look like this. You are going to be applying these vocabulary terms as you learn more about geometry and practice using geometry.